McLaren had pole position, second place, and the entire championship in their hands at the Qatar Grand Prix. One safety car, one decision, and in 7 seconds, they destroyed months of dominance. With one race left in the 2025 Formula One season, 3 drivers can still win the championship, and McLaren's catastrophic blunder just handed Max Verstappen a lifeline he had no right to receive. This is the story of how the most dominant team of the season snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, turning a dream scenario into a nightmare that will haunt them forever. The Qatar Grand Prix served as the penultimate race of the season, and McLaren entered the weekend in complete control. Oscar Piastri secured pole position through dominant qualifying with his teammate Lando Norris, lining up directly behind him in second place. The championship standings showed Norris leading the title race, with Piastri hunting down his teammate and Max Verstappen lurking as the outside threat. McLaren had the perfect opportunity to potentially lock out the championship in Qatar, with their superior pace and track position giving them every advantage. The Lusail International Circuit is known for its difficulty in overtaking, which made their front-row lockout even more valuable. Pirelli had imposed a 25-lap safety limit on the tires due to puncture concerns, setting up what should have been a straightforward race for the dominant McLaren team. Everything changed on lap 7, when Nico Hülkenberg and Pierre Gasly collided at turn 1. The incident brought out the safety car, with exactly 50 laps remaining in the race. This seemingly simple mathematical detail would become the foundation of one of the biggest strategic blunders in recent Formula One history. The 25-lap tire safety limit meant that anyone who pitted at lap 7 was locked into a rigid strategy, with a mandatory second stop on lap 32. As the safety car circled the circuit, Verstappen made his move and immediately dove into the pits. Nearly the entire field behind him followed suit, recognizing the golden opportunity for what it was, a free pit stop worth approximately 26 seconds that would cost them just a single position on track. Everyone else, figuring on the difficulty of overtaking around the Lusail track and on the fact that this was essentially a one-stop race in which they were being forced by Pirelli to do 2, decided to stop and lock in their track position. But not McLaren. Both Piastri and Norris stayed out on track. Norris questioned the decision immediately, his voice crackling over team radio. "We should have just followed him in. No, if we knew the car ahead was staying out." But by then the moment had passed and McLaren's fate was sealed. Team principal Andrea Stella later explained their thinking. "We didn't expect everyone else to pit. Obviously, if everyone else behind you pits, then it makes pitting definitely the right thing to do. When you are the lead car, you don't know exactly what the others are going to do." The supposed advantage McLaren believed they were securing was strategic flexibility. Stella elaborated. "Any other safety car would have put us in a very strong position. That's the flexibility that Will Joseph, Norris's race engineer, was referring to. For all the others pitting at lap 7, their strategy was kind of prescribed. 7, 3, 2, 5, 7. But as a matter of fact, it worked very well for everyone. McLaren's engineers convinced themselves that avoiding the prescribed pit window would give them options, that they could adapt, that their superior pace would compensate for the strategic deficit. They were wrong on all counts. But there was another layer to this catastrophe that many observers picked up on. McLaren's season had been plagued by team orders, controversies, and accusations of favoritism between their 2 drivers. The real problem was fear of appearing to favor one driver. Split strategy equals accusations of bias. Who gets priority? Championship leader Norris or the faster Piastri in Qatar with track position? Williams team boss James Vowles cut through the confusion when asked on Sky Sports, "I would have brought at least one in, but that's easy for me to say from my position here." Martin Brundle was even more direct. "This has worked out horribly for McLaren. Those behind have pitted and they have not. It feels to me as though McLaren have missed a trick." McLaren had backed themselves into a corner. A season of clumsy team orders meant that a split of strategy for either of their drivers meant they couldn't win. No matter if Norris or Piastri ended up with a better outcome in split strategies, the accusations of bias would have been hurtling towards them. So McLaren decided to trash both of their drivers' race win hopes, leaving them both out and in the process, giving the entire grid a free pit stop on them. In desperation, Piastri convinced the team that the only chance they had was to stop earlier and give themselves more time to chase down the Red Bull. Piastri came in on lap 42 with 15 laps to the end and fitted hard tires. But although he was able to reduce Verstappen's lead to 8 seconds by the end, The four-time champion was under no pressure when told during the race that he needed to be lapping in the 1:22 seconds, which was a whole second quicker than he was managing. Piastri offered a sarcastic response over the radio. Well, nice. The final radio transmission from Piastri, as he crossed the line, told the entire story. No words, he said simply. After climbing from his car, he remained measured but made no secret of his bitter disappointment. Clearly, we didn't get it right tonight. I drove the best race that I could and as fast as I could. There was nothing left out there. I tried my best, but it wasn't to be tonight, unfortunately. I think in hindsight, it's pretty obvious what we would have done, but I'm sure we'll discuss it as a team. It's not all bad. It's been a really good weekend, and the pace has been very strong. Obviously, it's a little bit tough to swallow at the moment. Verstappen crossed the line first, with Piastri finishing second, 7.995 seconds behind. Carlos Sainz capitalized on McLaren's strategic blunder to claim an unexpected third place for Williams. Norris came out in fifth place after his final stop behind Sainz and Kimi Antonelli, and for a long time struggled to pass the Italian until with just over a lap to go, Antonelli ran wide and Norris was able to move ahead. He crossed the line 0.66 seconds behind Sainz for fourth place, finishing 23.315 seconds behind Verstappen. His post-race assessment was equally blunt. We made the wrong decision. That was clear as soon as it happened. It was more of a gamble doing what we did than what they did. He added, I had no expectations going into the weekend. I tried to do my best. It wasn't good enough today, but that's life. Sky Sports reporter Ted Kravitz painted a vivid picture of the McLaren garage after the race. Normally at the end of these races, I speak to Andrea Stella or Zach Brown quite quickly. They are shell-shocked down here at McLaren. They don't know what to say. They have gone down to the back of the garage. They said no interviews until after the podium. They need to go and understand, get their ducks in a row and explain this all away. Meanwhile, Verstappen was celebrating what he called an incredible race for us. He said, we made the right call as a team to box. It was smart and super happy to win here and stay in the fight to the end. Incredible. It was a little bit offset because of it all. But for us, it was a very strong race on a weekend when it was a little bit tough, but we still got it done. He described McLaren's strategy as an interesting move, adding with characteristic understatement, but still, you have to keep the tires alive. The championship implications were devastating. Norris left Qatar on 408 points, but now only 12 points ahead of Verstappen on 396 points, with Piastri slipping to third on 392 points, 16 points behind Norris. Verstappen, who needed a miracle going into Qatar, suddenly had an excellent chance of claiming a fifth world championship. If he wins at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi, he will be champion if Norris finishes as low as fourth, exactly where the Briton ended up in Qatar. Norris will win the title if he finishes in the top three in Abu Dhabi. To claim his first world title, Piastri must win next weekend and hope Norris finishes outside the top five.